Hey everyone, Tom here with RV'ing Dogs and Wine. So today we're going to put our shower panels in, and we're doing a two-piece shower wall system, so one piece for each wall. We've got the curve of the ceiling here. The walls are not square to one another. So we want to make sure we get these panels cut perfectly. So we're going to use a technique that the guys use on our job sites when they make countertops. They kind of glue together a pattern. So what we did is we took some leftover 1/4-inch plywood and we ripped it down into little strips. You can buy float strips that are for tile, but since we already had this material, we're going to use this. And you just put a piece across the bottom, and we're going to put these pieces in here like this. And glue these in as we go, a couple pieces like this. Then we'll glue a piece in at the top that matches the ceiling and that matches this, and then when we have this whole piece glued together, we'll take it off, we'll lay it down on our panel, and we'll trace out our panel. That way we get an exact fit. All right, so since we have this curve in the ceiling, what I did is I took my top piece and I pushed it up against the ceiling to match the curve and glued that in. And then I glued these extra little pieces pushing up against it, and then this piece here, just to make sure this doesn't move when I go lay it out on my panel. All right, so we got our panels laid out here, and these panels are made by Jet Coat. So we're gonna go ahead and get them cut. We're gonna get them marked first and get them cut. And one thing I forgot to mention earlier on your templates when you make them, make sure you mark them top, bottom, left, right, just so you don't get them backwards or turned around when you go to lay out your panels. But we're gonna take this thing and lay it on here just like this. And then we're gonna mark these out and cut our panels. All right, so I got my lines all drawn out on my panel, and I'm going to cut that in a minute. But what I wanted to show you is I'm going to use this inside corner that attaches the two panels together. The manufacturer says it's optional, but I would much rather use this in the corner. It's just going to be cleaner and more watertight. So what I have to do is I have to take away this dimension where this is going to sit in the corner, which is about 3/8 of an inch. I'm going to give myself a little bit extra so I have some room to get it in there, so that it's not too tight when I'm putting the panel in. All right, we got our first panel cut, and I went ahead and snapped our corner on. I'm gonna test fit it and make sure it fits in there real nice before I put any glue on it. All right, so I took my template back in and double checked it to make sure it fit. Now that we have that first panel up and it fits perfect, but this is why making these templates is so important. You can see I've got it lined up here. I'm gonna end up taking a 1/2 inch off here to nothing here to about 1/4 of an inch here. But that's gonna make that panel fit perfectly and perfectly into that corner piece that I have in there. So if I were to take this and just take measurements and just cut it with my saw, I would end up with a 1/2 inch gap in the middle, and that wouldn't look good at all. So let's cut it and get it installed. All right, so one of the drawbacks in using these panels is you don't have any flexibility for heights. And I knew that when I ordered them. I knew it was gonna be really close, and you can see here, we're gonna be about a 1/2 inch short, but that's okay. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this PVC molding, and after we get it all installed, we're gonna run this PVC molding up against the ceiling, and that's gonna cover that gap. All right, so we got our panels in, they look great. We got our molding at the top. We're just gonna caulk in those gaps a little later. And next step is to put in the shower door. Stay tuned.